Hello everyone. In this topic we will going to talk about the massive corruption scandal that unearthed and is Pakistani ISI chief's names. The topic is related to this very corruption that actually happened in the 1980s. As we all know that the Pakistan is not an organized country. Their laws are not strong enough to protect the value of their citizens. As Pakistani laws are not strong enough to punish the politicians, bureaucrats and the legislator. That's why the corruption is rampant and the common day event in Pakistan. Pakistan itself not a democratic nation. It's a nation built on the platform on the weak judiciary and the weak legislature, which has always been manipulated by the Pakistani high-ranking army officials. They always took money from the grants and the loans given by the other countries, and they took those money to nurture their own family. When the Panama Papers were leaked, then the several Pakistani ministers, political allies and the military officials named were revealed. In Pandora Papers, same things also happened. So, in Pakistan, taken the money from the Pakistan's coffer and put those money into the Swiss bank and in any other bank. It is a very common day event in the Pakistan. These kind of things actually unearthed in every day's event. It's kind of an everyday event in the Pakistan's citizens. But this is the corruptions actually happened when the golden time was going on for the Pakistan. That is why this corruption is very important to discuss. And that actually happened during the time of the Afghan war, when the CIA was funding the money on the behalf of the Mujahedeen to the Pakistani ISI chief. A massive leak from the world's biggest private banks, the Credit Suisse, has exposed the hidden wealth of the clients involved in torturing, drug trafficking, money laundering, corruptions and the other serious crimes. A list of almost 30,000 beneficiaries of this bank have been revealed by the website called the Organized Crime and the Corruption Reports. Among these 30,000, around 1,400 individuals domiciled in Pakistan are linked with 600 accounts opened in Credit Suisse. Among those 1,400 names, one name took the center stage in the South Asia's newspaper, bulletins and editorials. And that name is General Akhtar Abdur Rehman Khan, who was the former closest aide of the Pakistani dictator Zia-Ul-Haq. Zia-Ul-Haq was the shining star in the USSR during 1980s. Because Zia-Ul-Haq was the main perpetrator against the USSR removal from Afghanistan. He allegedly helped to funnel the billions of dollars from the United States and its allies to help the Mujahedeen in their fight against the Russians in Afghanistan. Because of this reckless move from the US's behalf, that created the most notorious terrorist organization called Al-Qaeda and its leader Osama bin Laden. And later, Osama bin Laden designed an attack against the American soil by attacking the twin towers of the World Trade Centers. So that created an havoc in the United States that cost the USA around 1,500 lives and trillions of dollars due to the humanity's largest manhunt for the Osama bin Laden. At last, Osama bin Laden was found in the Pakistan Abbottabad near the military garrisons of the Pakistan army. So Pakistan army was the perpetrator for hiding the Osama bin Laden in its own country by using the US's money, because USA was helping the Pakistan to tackle the Taliban in the Afghanistan at that time. And that person and that country was using that money to help the Osama bin Laden to hide in their country near their military garrison, to perpetrate against another attack on any other soils. So during the 1980s, then the Pakistan ISI Chief General Akhtar Abdur Rehman Khan was the responsible for establishing a network for the CIA-funded Mujahedeen fighters against the Russian invasion and the occupation of the Afghanistan from 1979 to 1989. The US and the Saudi Arabian governments were providing the funding to the jihadis through the Pakistani ISI and through the CIA's Swiss bank account. And the dollars for the jihad poured in in the form of other Western nations like the Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain by using the USS Credit Suisse account. The last recipient of these black budgets was the ISI led by the Akhtar. In 1988, Akhtar was killed with the Zia-Ul-Haq in alleged plane crash under mysterious circumstances. In 1984, CIA's Afghanistan budget stood at some $200 million to train Mujahedeen in sophisticated weaponry. During Zia-Ul-Haq's regime, Akhtar was siding the hefty amount of money. He was siding the hefty amount of money to fill its own pockets. He siphoned off lot of money from Afghan wire into his own bank accounts in the Credit Suisse. According to the Organized Crime and the Corruption Report Project, one of the two Akhtar's family accounts jointly held by the Akhtar's sons, and Akbar, Ghazi and the Harun, which was opened on July 1, 1985. The same year, the US President Ronald Reagan raised the issue of the corruption in Afghan war fund that were the issuing by the US government for carrying the proxy war against the Russians through the Pakistani trained Mujahideens. And the Pakistan ISI chief was using that money to help his family to make himself rich. And that the Ronald Reagan government has came to know. They came to know that where the money was going. And they came to know these kind of people, those who are using this money, they are belongs to the Pakistan. Those they are helping them at that time. According to the report by the 2003, the Akbar's son's account was worth at least $3.7 million. The second account, which was in the name of the Akbar himself, was worth more than $9.2 million at that time. The ISI man is not only the high profile person whose profile has been exposed. There are many of these kind of persons around the world, though those kept dirty money in the Credit Suisse has been exposed. There are around 15 names has been exposed by this organization. They were keeping those money in those accounts, in the Swiss bank accounts, to make themselves rich, to make their family rich. That includes the King Abdullah II of the Jordan, as well as the former Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak's son, and the various others, those who are siphoning the money that belongs to the nations. They were siphoning that money for their own goods. Most of the bank's clients are from the Egypt, Venezuela, Ukraine and Thailand, according to the Swiss secret report. And these are the peoples are all involved in the drug trafficking. There are different kind of trafficking, human trafficking. These are the peoples are keeping those dirty money in the Swiss bank accounts. Although the bank has denied all these charges, according to the bank, 90% of these accounts have been closed and the 60% have been closed before 2015. The purpose of the Swiss secrets is to target not only the Credit Suisse bank but also the Swiss financial system, which has undergone the numerous changes in the last few years. Because the Switzerland is kind of a country where the peoples love to keep the money because it is a tax haven. When the people keep that money over there, they do not have to register those money to their own country. This is a corruption. Swiss peoples are helping the world to do the corruptions in the name of making themselves rich. So these are the very, very bad habit for those countries. So these kind of tax havens needed to be punished by closing the businesses transaction through the world regulation through the United Nations. Until then, the war and the crime won't be stopped. If this kind of tax haven will not be punished, then the war will go on and the crime will go on and on. So all the tax haven, the Cayman Island, the British Virgin Islands, Switzerland and the other countries needed to be punished. They needed to be disbanded from taking the money in the name of the banks. Until then, the dirty money will take the front seat. According to me, it is on the distant target because the world is in the dirty cycle. And the cycle cannot be stopped because of the economical entanglement. Everybody is doing the business. And these countries are doing the business by taking those dirty money, by making their own people rich. Switzerland is a very rich country. British Island is a very rich island. Cayman Island, it is a very rich island. So these are the islands and these are the countries making themselves rich. Singapore is a very rich country. They are also the tax havens. The UAE is a very rich country. They are also the tax haven. Recently they have put the tax in the name of something. They put the VAT. So these kind of things has to be stopped in and around the world. Until then, these kind of corruptions will go on and on. And we have seen in the Panama paper, we have seen in the other paper leaks, that how the rich peoples kept that money in those banks. Those are the helping them to keep that money out of the tax net of their own country. And the lecturing the Pakistani is just waste of time. They are all corrupt and the greedy. They will remain so as long as the earth is there. We cannot tell the Pakistanis that they do not do the corruption. It will not going to help your country. They will do the corruptions in the name of something. They will going to make themselves rich by taking those money, those who belongs to their own people. But they love to take that money. The military persons, the legislative persons, the different kind of person, those who are related to the government, they will going to take that money, put that money in those countries' accounts and make themselves rich, make their sons rich, and they will going to send their sons into the in some of the United States schools and in the colleges of the UK. So these kind of things always happened in the Pakistan. This is a very regular thing. And the Akhtar was the same person as the same Pakistani politicians and the same Pakistani officials are there in today's Pakistan. Now we have reached the question. The first question is, what does the Taliban refer to themselves as? The first option is Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. Second option is Emirate of Afghanistan. Third option is Students of Afghanistan. Fourth is none of the above. The second question is, which of the following is the ideology followed by Taliban? So here the question is very, very wrong. I think this question is very wrong. You should not be give the answer of this question. If anyone have any questions or anything about this topic or about the topic I have uploaded, please you can contact me through my email address, which is tuhin.power.academy@gmail.com. Thank you very much. Thank you for your support.